Welcome to the Real Estate 401k Show. Here are your hosts, Ryan Gerdes, Mike Weinstein, and Justin Frederick, helping you build a legacy of wealth through real estate. Powered by the Recon Group at West USA and the Frederick team with Fairway Mortgage. NMLS number 625918.
Well, welcome back to the Real Estate 401k Show. Look who decided to join us this week. Hey, Justin's
good to have you back, dude.
Hey.
Looking good.
I think, it was I feel like it was one of my first ones missing, and I was due for one.
Dude,
you know,
no, we get to fuck with you.
Yeah,
whenever we
please
want.
do.
It's not missing. Planned misses is
yeah.
one thing. It's 10 minutes before we go on the air, and you're like, hey, guys, I'm not going to make it.
It was the first day of the year, first working day of the year, and it's like everybody. Excuses.
Bro,
right?
we're a tripod here.
I know.
Like, table
we were
can't
missing a
stand
leg.
it too. Yeah.
I get it. I believe it.
Well, I'm your host, Mike Weinstein, alongside Justin Frederick, who is getting heckled right now, and Ryan Gerdes. So we are, and we will never pretend, not even on TV, will ever pretend to be economists. And I'm not going to get into the ramifications of where the U.S. national debt is, but the U.S. national debt right now is at $34 trillion. And I'm going to let the pundits and the politicians and all of them have fun with that fodder all year long. But what we've learned, like our government getting into heavy debt, we sit back as Americans and point our fingers at them and say, oh, I can't believe the government's doing it. Well, we apparently, as Americans, as consumers, we're following suit. The current...
We learn from the best.
Oh, yeah.
America. The thing over the years, we see so much, I'm not going to say turmoil, but we see so many changes, so much fear-mongering going on when it comes down to the real estate market. A lot of things keep people up at night that really shouldn't keep people up at night. If there's anything that keeps me up at night, worried about the impact to the real estate market, is the credit card debt. So like our federal government, $34 trillion in debt, the current credit card debt for American consumers is $1.079 trillion. You're in the trenches right now. How are you seeing this played out, and how do you see it impacting the real estate market?
So we've definitely seen a huge increase in the amount of debt that our average consumer has when they're calling in. And I would say that's probably been growing over the last 6 months, but it's definitely been more evident the past couple of weeks. Not that people, well, maybe they did because the holidays just passed. Maybe people did just go out and load up their credit cards, but
maybe next month this number will be double. Everybody had a wonderful Christmas, and those stupid Target cups, what the Stanley cups, like what is wrong with people?
Yeah, it's
hold on, I want to get your first impression. I know
the Stanley Cups, because I was rolling through with the face space the other day, and I was like, what the hell is this? Oh, okay, I got it, and then it just wouldn't stop. It was because it knows the algorithms. Like if you look at something for more than 2 or 3 seconds, it like sees you in the camera, and then like all of a sudden that's just what it keeps feeding you, and I'm like, oh shit, abort! Like I don't make it stop.
Do you guys have your phones with you in studio right now?
Yeah.
Okay, so I leave my phone in the office, so your phone is listening to you. I guarantee you, when you get on Facebook later on today, if you do, you're going to see Stanley Cup ads. They tell you your phones aren't listening. They tell you Facebook's not listening. They for sure are listening.
I'm excited to see if this really actually happens. So I'm sure it will.
I don't even know what they're about. All I know is it just kept pushing this content on me, and I was just like, this just looks stupid. So what's the? I know we have business to take care of, but what's the Cliff Notes on it?
Oh, I guess Target. I don't know whether they partnered with Starbucks because I really don't pay much attention to it, but I just know that Target came out with its own branded Stanley Cup, which is a Stanley Cup. I'm embarrassed to say we probably have 5 in my house. I was not part of any of those acquisitions, but my wife is into this, and I guess it'll keep your drinks cold for 48 hours or whatever the case is. But the point of the matter is, I don't mind the Stanley Cup. I just can't imagine getting that excited about having the Target logo on it.
Right.
I mean,
we have a cabinet full of Yetis because every single time there's like a I don't know, an event or whatever, somebody always gets their
real estate event.
Yeah, they always put their logo on it, then give it out and whatnot. And so we use them. They're good cups, but whatever.
Now, if it had a Walmart logo on it, then I'm in.
If it had a McDonald's logo on it.
Or an In-N-Out. Now we're
A McRib on it.
scratch and sniff.
Oh,
that would be fantastic. Anyway, so
Can we go back to talking about debt?
Yeah, let's talk about credit card debt. And before we continue the conversation, we're really going down the path of, for you as the consumer, especially if you've been racking up credit card debt and you're thinking about purchasing a house in 2024, you really need to know where you stand. You really need to know where your debt-to-income ratio is and what your credit report looks like. Not pulled by you by going to www.freecreditreport.com. You're not going to see the same thing that your lender's going to see. We want to get you in touch with Justin and his team. All you got to do is text the word credit to 623-AZ-RECON. That's credit to 623-AZ-RECON. Justin, no idea where we left off, so I'll let you carry it away.
Yeah, so we are seeing a lot of credit card debt coming through, collection accounts. Student loans now are active again, so those payments have gone up. So our debt to income ratios seem to be on the higher end of things when we're working these files. So yeah, we are doing a lot of simulators telling people what they need to pay down in order for their credit scores to get up, or even telling them, hey, we're going to have to do something with these liabilities monthly in order to get your debt to income ratios in line in order to purchase the home that you're looking at. So it's very important for us to get a hold of these as soon as we can, so we can line these up. Now, luckily, there's been a lot of people that currently own homes. Yeah, they have fantastic interest rates, but some of these people were having to refinance them to consolidate their debts. It's kind of a last resort, but we're saving them thousands monthly, and it's hard to say that, but we are really saving them thousands monthly. I feel like even with doubling their interest rate or even tripling it in some cases, we've seen a large savings.
All right, if you're looking for a credit debt strategy, we want you to text the word credit to 623-AZ-RECON. We want to get you in touch with Justin and his team. They will go over your options, help you build that strategy. Again, text the word credit to 623-AZ-RECON. Ryan, to you, when you hear this number, current credit card debt for Americans is at $1.079 trillion. What does that mean to you? How do you interpret that?
I mean, I haven't done enough research to really go back and track all the numbers, but I can just tell you, as far as boots on the ground, it feels like COVID lit a firecracker. They gave out free checks, for whatever. Let's say you got $2,000 in the mail one day from the federal government because you had a couple kids, et cetera, and it was COVID, and the government was feeling generous because of it. People went out, instead of spending $2,000, they spent $3,000. Or they thought they were Oprah, and they're giving out everything. You get a car, you get a.
Or do they think that they were going to? Those checks were going to continue to come?
Right. Yeah. And I think that they just kind of got accustomed to having that, and then they did a lifestyle switch, right? And so now all of a sudden I can't even fathom the idea of us surpassing the national debt by that much as far as consumers go. So I think that a lot of I was talking with my daughter the other day, okay, and we're talking about she's in Future Business Leaders of America, as is my son, and then they're doing econ. They're in some pretty advanced classes.
Hold on. What's wrong with you, Q? My son's in the studio. You're not in that program. What's
they
wrong
don't
with
have
you?
it. I talked to him about it yesterday.
Okay.
He goes to a subpar school, but that's okay.
That's his dad's fault.
It's always his mom's fault. Okay. Always, when she's not around.
And the things that they just do not teach in high school, where I'm like, Like they'll teach you simple interest, compound interest, but nothing about amortized interest. And it's like, what in the hell are you doing? Like that's the most common form of interest that we pay for real estate, and everyone needs a roof over their head. Why wouldn't they have some type of working knowledge? Anyhow, moral of the story is they don't talk about credit, they don't talk about debt, they don't talk about any of those things. Matter of fact, they basically say, hey, just save, don't invest. They don't talk anything about investing, right? And so it's no wonder that we're sitting back here and saying, hey, look, these people needed a scapegoat, or they got too accustomed to a certain lifestyle, and that they're over here spending money that they don't have, racking up credit card bills. And then, they did learn from the past too. Oh, hey, guess I'll just file bankruptcy. Maybe I'll just rack up all this debt, and that's my plan. And it's just like, come on, you guys are committing financial suicide here. For all you have to do is make a couple little sacrifices and put your money in the right spots. And then instead of being in the negative, you're having $50,000-$100,000 worth of debt. You're gonna have $50,000-$100,000 worth of equity in investment properties or stocks or whatever it is, right? So I think that it's just I think that it's that's the real pandemic that happened from COVID, is just that people just forgot how to use money wisely.
I like that, the real pandemic.
You like that?
I do, because you're right. Because as the government was handing out money, most
they were enabling.
Most intelligent people were sitting back and asking the question is, well, how are we going to pay for that? Well, here we are. The federal government's now $34 trillion in debt,
and we're paying with higher interest rates to suck back that money. So,
all right. Well, let's segue into our children. Because Ryan brought up his kids and these classes and these things that they are learning, and these are conversations that I'm having, at least with my oldest son right now, of just I remember when my parents were really good with their money, very good with their money. They saved, they paid off their mortgage, they did all of these things.
Awesome.
But never once did they ever sit down and have a discussion with me. And that was to not only their detriment, because they had to bail me out a couple of times, but to my detriment.
That's okay. I think we all had to go through that.
Yeah.
It's part of the learning
But
curve.
I sit down and I talk with, we all sit down and talk with our kids to explain to them so that when they do turn 18 and they have those options to get credit cards and things like that, that they at least have somewhat of an understanding of how money works. And it was my junior year in college. That was the first time I moved away from home, living in the dorms. And we had what's called, if you're watching the video, it was Wow Week, Welcome Week, right?
Oh, no, don't ever do that again.
that wasn't.
Oh my God, Mike.
Or for
I really hope that you guys are listening to this and not watching
or
it.
for Justin, Mom, all right? Okay, this stuff just comes to me, man.
He can't help himself, folks.
But so I was going through what we called the quad, and Citibank was there, and you got a free. It wasn't a Stanley Cup back then. It was a free mug and free T-shirt and this and that. And so they're like, "Hey, come on, sign on up." And I got my first Citibank credit card. No concept of how that worked. And what happened when I just made my minimum payment? And what happened when I missed a payment? For a while there, I thought Citibank was very cordial because they would keep calling me to remind me to make my payment. And I thought this was very nice of them. Later on, my wife's like, it's because you were late. That's called collections, pal.
Yeah.
And I wasn't it.
You're in the doghouse.
Completely destroyed my credit. Completely destroyed it. And just for the mere fact, wasn't that, I guess you could say I was irresponsible, but
I'm not what you call a responsible guy.
Wow.
Jesus.
Oh, he did it again.
Oh God.
Well, if you're listening,
You're
if you're listening on Spotify, and Apple and wondering what the heck we're talking about, you can just go over to YouTube and figure this out. But no one told me. No one told me these things. And so my first question for you, because this is my son is just turned 18 years old, and we're having the discussion of his first credit card, Justin. And I don't know what I should do first because I do want to make him a co-signer on one of my cards to really, in the next 12 months, jack up his credit. But I also know he needs to go out and find a introductory student type credit card just to establish his credit history. Which one do we do first? And then what advice would you give him as far as managing that credit card?
So I love it. Actually, we were just having this conversation last night with my oldest daughter, and she's 15. I'm actually trying to find out what age you have to be minimum to get a credit card as an actual co-signer rather than an authorized user. So I'm going to be working on that, and hopefully I can bring that back to us at a later date. But being that he's 18, I would start off with a secured credit card. I wouldn't go ahead and place him on your cards right now because we want to see what his actual numbers are doing. By you putting him on an authorized user, he's stealing your history. So we wouldn't actually see what his what his scores are actually doing.
Well, he steals all my money. He steals all my socks. He steals all my food. You might as well just steal my credit.
So Chase has a wonderful card, Chase Liquid. You can go in to the branch. The secured credit card, the way it works is you put a certain amount of funds on the credit card, and based on your spending of those funds and paying it back, dictates what your credit scores are going to end up being. Now, typically what we tell customers without a credit history is get the secured credit card, put about $300 on it, try just to stick within 10%. And when I say try, do it. Stick with 10%. So the amount that you can spend per month is $30. And you can go back and pay them as much as you want and keep using that $30, but don't go over that $30. That 10%, using 10% of the allowable balance is going to maximize your credit score. And typically we see with individuals without much of a credit history, without much damage, we start to see some good scores come up about 6 months.
So you wouldn't advise him to go out and get some kind of card that offers some sort of rewards?
Not at this point.
Okay.
Why don't you just go get a credit card and then put it in your pocket and then use the $500 a month and then pay it off? And I mean, that'd work the same, right?
Well, he's not going to be able to qualify for a standard card. He could probably get a department store card, but those cards don't really have a huge impact on credit scores like a Capital One or a Visa or MasterCard. So we like to stay away from those types of cards, especially with the higher interest that he would obtain on a first go around. If he's stuck with a secured credit card for 6 months, built up his credit score, then he can go after a card with some benefits to it.
So he could go get a card from Lane Bryant. Mike could use it.
There we go. He'll max it out.
Does McDonald's have a credit card?
I'm surprised they don't. I'm sure they will someday.
They have an app.
Call them.
Just on a side note, I know, Ryan, you don't eat McDonald's. I don't know whether you like McDonald's. They got an incredible mobile app, some incredible deals.
You know what? Their coffee's pretty good. I'll swing in and get a cup of coffee. Done that before. But that's about it.
I'll tear up some chicken nuggets with some sweet and sour sauce. That's for sure. I love their sweet and sour sauce.
All right, Ryan, what conversations are you having with your kids about credit?
So we have and I think we've talked about this before on the show, that they're not going to get a credit card, that they're going to just, we're going to throw them on ours. And that's been the plan all along. But after we're kind of talking here, and what's popping in through my head is, I might just, get her or get them, whatever, $500 credit card, and then we can blow that in a month pretty easily just on, random expenditures, and then pay it off in full, or do the 10% deal. That might be the best avenue.
Well, then, Justin, kind of go into. I'm sorry, Ryan. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I did.
No, it's what we're mostly focusing on is student loans. Like that's the big talk in the house. And I don't know if these numbers reflect student loans or if it's just credit card.
Just credit card.
Just credit card. Okay, well. Yeah, the way that we talk about credit is that we're going to be putting everything over on student loans, and lucky for us, Brooke, our daughter, she got a full ride, so we're going to take out the max amount and go invest in real estate, baby.
There you go. Yeah.
And then when she graduates, I'm just going to hand the portfolio over to her, and I'm going to say, hey, this is your student loans anyhow.
All right, Justin, before we wrap up here, walk us through the difference between a regular credit card and a secured credit card with the bank.
Okay, so a regular credit card is non-secured, meaning it's not tied to any of your assets. So they're just giving you money to borrow against a higher interest rate. A secured credit card is you're actually depositing funds that secures the amount of the line that you have on that credit card. So that's the difference. You're basically fronting the money for a line of credit, and they want to see how you use that line in order to give you a credit rating. It's a wonderful way to do it in order to establish credit in a short period of time.
Well, we could have done an entire segment just on talking about advice for our kids. A lot of the advice that we give our kids are unfortunately from mistakes that we've made, but regardless of whether you are looking for strategy, if you've got a kid and you want us to talk to him, we would love to talk to him. But if you're looking for strategies, understanding what's on your credit, how to position yourself to take advantage of the opportunities that our present day real estate market is offering, we want you to reach out to Justin, have a conversation with his team. All you got to do is text the word credit to 623-AZ-RECON. That's credit to 623-AZ-RECON.
Thank you for joining us on the Real Estate 401k Show. If you want more information on how to build wealth, click on the link or text us at 623-297-3266. That's 623-AZ-RECON.